Hello, this is video number 20. Well done for making it all the way to the top of this staircase. Almost time to celebrate and relax. Of course, there are always more steps around the corner, just ahead. But I hope you feel you've learned some very useful skills, some leadership techniques, some new ways of looking at people, and new ways of looking at yourself, and nicer ways of persuading people to do what you want them to do. Remember when we learned about forming, storming, norming, performing, and finally adjourning? We should use the adjourning phase to review what we did well. We should use it to think about what we could have done better and what we could do better next time. We should use this phase to celebrate our success, to praise our teammates, and to look forward to the next challenge, the next adventure, right? We've covered so much on this short course. We've looked at very different types of leader. We've looked at very different styles of leadership. And do you remember from that very first lesson, how do you recognize a true leader? By how they respond in a crisis. And who else can be a really good leader if you practice some of the things that we've learned on this course? Yes, you. In a really difficult situation, there are 3 things that we can change to make the situation better. Do you remember what the 3 things are? That's right, we can change our focus, change our words, and change our physiology. Do you remember that little trick we learned? To change our physiology in an instant, to make it look like we're confident, even if we're still a little bit nervous. What was it? That's right, the string thing. Why don't we do one now? Go on, find that little point on your collarbone. Tie your string to your stud there and pull up the string. Look at you now. Do you remember the fundamentals of public speaking? The 4 more P's? How many of them do you remember? No, I'm not going to tell you what they are. If you don't remember, go back to the video and look them up. Oops. And then we had a history lesson, didn't we? We looked at many different theories of leadership. Big one was the great man theory. And we realized that's not stuck in history. There are still people today who think that the great leader needs to have the answers to everything. Biggest mistake. And we moved on to trait theories. Personality of leaders. And what did we discover? That the most common trait of top executives is optimism. It's very hard to follow someone who's a pessimist. You need to be able to look forward, to give people hope. And can we learn to be optimists? Let's just ask Bob the Builder.
Yes, we can.
And it's not just Bob and Barack who think that. Hospitality legend Danny Meyer has optimistic warmth at number 1 in the list of traits he looks for when he hires. Have a quick read through all 5 of them now. Before we started our storytelling exercises, we looked at nervousness, how to overcome it, and how to teach other people to get over their anxieties. We did this breathing exercise, remember? You're never going to forget it every time you go past a 7-Eleven. Let's try one now. Breathe in for 7 seconds. And out slowly for 11 seconds. And you know, if you do 2 of those, it's even better. Are stories just for kids? Oh, no, they're not. They are very powerful business tools. And you'll never forget these poor turtles. Remember, stories can transform you emotionally, can change you inside, and can change the way people behave, change the way companies behave, and change the way countries behave. Powerful leadership tools too. Here's a reminder of a few things to think about when you're telling a story in business, at the workplace, at a presentation, when you're pitching for business. And why should you listen to other people's stories? Because that's how you discover their needs, your customers' needs, your clients' needs, your boss's needs. And then you can meet those needs. That's the ticket to success. If you are telling a story for business, you should prepare and practice first, right? And here was a little technique to help you prepare a story, to help you structure it perfectly. Time to warm up those mouth parts. Can you still do this? Are you ready? The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue, the tip of the tongue, the teeth, the lips. Over to you. 2, 3, 4. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue, the tip of the tongue, the teeth, the lips. Okay, what does a leader have to do? A leader has to get other people to do stuff, right? And a leader needs to motivate them. And which of these was the very best form of motivation? Yes, positive, intrinsic motivation. When people do something because they want to do it, because they feel good doing it, that's the most fantastic place to be in. And how do smart people persuade others? Using the same methods that have worked for over 2,000 years. Logos, pathos, and ethos. And if you can't remember how to use them, how they work, please go back and look at the videos. And which is the most powerful? Yes, ethos. Do you remember the smoking doctor? The actresses with the beautiful skin and the gorgeous hair? But there's still a place for logos, for logic, for argument, for facts, for reason. The clever people know where to put them. What was the secret? Yes, after the pathos, after you've made the emotional connection. Then I told you how I spent a week with the American PSYOPs forces. The military know all about persuasion. But what was one of those beautiful, simple techniques that we learned? That's it.
You catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar.
Bringing us right up into the 21st century, Robert Cialdini and his 7 weapons of influence. If you want to lead your people effectively, you need to know your people. Is there just one way of leading a team? One style fits all? No, it all depends on the situation. It all depends on the people. I think this was one of the most important bits of theory that we covered on this whole course. 4 different styles. telling, selling, participating, and delegating. Do you remember when you use each one? Oh yes, you got to meet Theo the cat. Most staff presentations are but Brian knew how to make things interesting. Brian knew how to captivate his audience. Brian knew how to reel us in. Ah, the geese! Magnificent beasts! Do you remember what kind of team geese were when they're flying? A self-directed team, that's right. I hope you got that answer in the exam. Forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. And the one that most of us get stressed about? Yeah, storming. Conflict. But we worked out that some conflict is good. Task conflict can be helpful, can lead to better results. However, we need tools, we need techniques to help us get through it. Remind yourself now of some of the techniques that we can use. And please, be gracious. Recognize your progress. Whatever you've thought of the person at the beginning of the conflict, if you've made progress, thank them, praise them. There's so much more that we could have done in this course. Cultural intelligence, emotional intelligence, morality, levels of moral intelligence, types of leadership, transformative, charismatic, Machiavellian, servant leadership, delegating, running meetings effectively, decision making, dealing with difficult people, so much more. We may have run out of time, but you have all the time in the world. Now it's over to you. Keep on learning. At last, a word that rhymes with adjourning. Okay, for the adjourning section, well, we've just reviewed the highlights of the course. Now you get to review your teamwork experience and you get to reflect upon your self-reflections. What did you learn about yourself? How can you become a better leader? Just go to Blackboard, Assignments and Projects, and in green you'll find the And Finally section. Fill that in and post it in your journal. Plenty of points still available, but really you're doing this for you. That's it, the video series has ended. The show is over. Thank you, Toronto, we love you.